We've been delving into the mysteries that are hidden in plain sight until we no longer need to see by the light of existence, by the light of our sensory awareness. And it can be said that it is the Sufis who have mastered the ability to create stories that hide and reveal at the same time. So let's test our seeing with this Sufi story. It's the Sufi story about three dervishes, one called Wayfarer, one called Strangeness, and one called Save Time. Now Wayfarer was called Wayfarer because he would follow any way, any credo, any ritual. And Strangeness had his name because although many people found him strange, he himself found nothing strange. And Save Time was called Save Time because he was always running ahead of himself, always in a hurry to get somewhere. Now these three dervishes travelled together for some while, but they reached a parting of the ways when Wayfarer heard about a certain temple that contained many mysteries. So he went off on his way. And Save Time decided that he would take a shortcut to somewhere, and so went off on his way. And Strangeness, following those strange signs that no one else can see, went on his way until he came across a strange man sitting on the side of the road. But Strangeness didn't find him strange at time. And the strange man said to him, don't take that road because it leads to an old caravanserai that was abandoned and has now been taken over by wild animals. So Strangeness said, when do the animals hunt? And a strange man said, well, I believe that they hunt in the daytime. So Strangeness said, well, I will sleep in the daytime and stay awake at night. So he set off on his way. Now, as for Wayfarer, when he came to the temple that he had heard of, he found that it had been abandoned hundreds of years ago and had been taken over by a pride of lions who peremptorily devoured him. And Save Time, thinking that he had taken a shortcut, found himself falling into quicksand, which was not fatal. You could get your way out, it just that it took a long time. But Strangeness came to the place that had been described, the old abandoned caravanserai, and indeed he saw the footprints of many animals outside the door since he arrived in the daytime. So he settled himself to sleep and was awake when the wild animals came back after their hunt. Now when the wild animals entered that place, they gave reverence to the lion, the king of the jungle, as he is called, who took his place there. And then the animals began to discuss together that knowledge which is not aware of by men. And so Strangeness was able to listen and hear what the animals were saying. And one of the animals related that in this very place there was a stash of gold guarded by a rat who appeared in the daytime to count the gold. Even though he could not use it in any way, he was fixated on counting the gold. And then another animal said that at a distance from this place there was a stone, and hidden within that stone was the great gem called the stone of the calabash, that stone that glows in the darkest of places, so one can see. And then another animal related, which even Strangeness found a little strange, and that was that it was said that in a distant kingdom there was a princess that was beset by madness that no one could heal. But if only it was known that the hair on the back of a certain sheepdog that looked over a flock of sheep could cure the princess in an instant. Now, Strangeness noted all of this information, and as soon as the animals went out to hunt, when daylight broke, he got up and waited, and sure enough, out came the rat, bringing with it the stash of gold hidden there. So Strangeness was able to claim the gold. Then setting out, as was said, following the strange signs that no one else could see, he made his way to the stone, and there secreted was that stone, that gem of the calabash, which he put in his cloak. And then again, following those strange signs, he arrived at the place where he was able to pluck the hairs of the sheepdog and again put them into his cloak. Finding his way again by the same means, he arrived at the far distant kingdom, where the people in the street bustling about were sad and morose, and of course, when he asked them, they related that the princess had been beset by madness and that no one could cure her. So Strangeness immediately asked that he be taken to the palace, where the king said, "You know, if, as you state, you can cure my daughter, you will have half my kingdom. But if you fail, you will be impaled on the highest minaret." So being taken into the presence of the princess, he took out the hairs from the sheepdog, and immediately they were placed in front of the princess. She lost her madness. Of course, overjoyed, the king kept his promise and gave to Strangeness half his kingdom. Now, living in this way, Strangeness found that many people came to seek his wisdom and his knowledge. But oftentimes, Strangeness, in disguise, would go out into the city to touch those souls who had not found their way to the palace. But there was an occasion when he visited a coffee shop, and there was his friend, Save-Time. Now, Save-Time, being harried as he always was, hardly took time to recognize his old dervish companion. But Strangeness approached him, and recognition was made. And then Strangeness took his friend Save-Time to the palace, where Save-Time said, tell me, quickly tell me, how did you arrive at this place? Quickly." And Strangeness related his story of going to the place where the wild animals came. And after this, of course, he recognized that Save-Time was not taking in the details of what was being related to him, being in a hurry to go, because he said, "I want what you've got." And so he could hardly wait to leave that place to follow in Strangeness's footsteps. But before he took his leave, Strangeness said to him, "I would advise you that you should wait to learn first how to embrace time and strange signs before you embark on this endeavor." But Save-Time could not wait, and hardly heard what Strangeness was saying, so he hurried on his way. He arrived at the caravanserai at night, and he could not wait until the daytime, so he burst in on the wild animals, who immediately devoured him. Now, as for Strangeness, he continued doing what it was that was there for him to do, allowing those to come who found their way the towns and other places. Seeing without the need for sensory awareness, without the light of creation. So what does it mean in this Sufi story when it's said, you must learn to embrace time and strange signs? What have you found in this place of seeing without the need for eyes and ears, without the need for awareness? What does it mean? We have to learn to embrace time and strange signs. What's your experience?